Breaking news, President Trump is expected to sign an executive order in the Oval Office at any moment now, and that order would order federal agencies to coordinate with Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, to shrink the workforce, the government workforce, and limit hiring to just essential positions. The goal? To significantly reduce the size of the government. The president is speaking right now alongside the Tesla CEO, and the federal workforce, so let's give you some numbers here, currently exceeds 2.4 million people. The government spent nearly $300 billion on compensation to pay those civilian employees, excluding pensions, in fiscal year 2022. That's the most recent data we have. For comparison, the federal government employed 2.13 million people at the beginning of the President Bill Clinton term. He cut the size of the government by 17%, or about 437,000 employees by the time he left office in 1999. It's a pretty high bar that the Trump administration should aim to reach, perhaps. So that brings us to how. Well, French luxury goods company LVMH is saying that it is now looking to expand its manufacturing presence here. The Christian Dior and Givenchy makers' CEO Bernard Arnault saying last month he's been, quote, seriously considering bulking up the company's production capacities in the U.S., citing a, quote, wind of optimism in the country. So maybe you kind of give people an option. If they don't work for the government, they can work elsewhere here in the States. The news comes amid President Trump's push for increased American manufacturing, threatening tariffs on the countries of global companies that do not make their products in the U.S. Staffing startup Traba seems to be perfectly positioned for the current labor climate. The company uses artificial intelligence to connect businesses with light industrial workers, people who work in warehouses and factories. Traba has more than 1,000 light industrial customers and has already connected 1 million workers to businesses. Traba CEO, co-founder and CEO, Mike Shebat, and the first investor, Shebat rather, and the first investor in Traba, PayPal Mafia member and Khosla Ventures managing director, Keith Rabois, join me now in a Fox Business exclusive. Well, what timing, Mike? I mean, this looks really interesting here. How would you foresee something like what is expected to be announced? And that is the president saying that all federal agencies must work with DOGE to slim down the workforce affect you?
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of Americans that are going to be looking for employment. And whether you are a French manufacturer of bags or a food and beverage distributor that's been in the country for a while, you're going to be looking for workers in the country. In which case today, these businesses are relying on the over 27,000 staffing agencies to find workers, but they're not finding the right types of people. So businesses are turning to Traba to try to find high quality, vetted American workers to help them in their facilities. And just like how technology disrupted the taxi industry, Traba is improving the light industrial staffing firms with technology.
So I'm hearing you say that it's almost like the Uber of staffing agencies. You match a customer, worker, with an actual employer together on the platform. So, but what is it that you actually do to make sure that both sides are happy?
Yeah, so if you had a traditional staffing office, you would have to interview thousands of workers to really narrow down who were the right, well-qualified people to come to your facility. So with the advancements in artificial intelligence, we're able to actually interview thousands at scale and really narrow down that worker pool to find the right workers that are the right fits for facilities.
Keith, you have made investments at Khosla Ventures in many companies that have become incredibly lucrative. They've gone public. They've been very successful. What was it about Traba that you saw where you said, I'm putting my money in, I'm the first one to invest in?
Well, there's two key drivers. One was how large the light industrial segment was, $40 billion just in the United States, over 19 companies with over $100 million in revenue, but incredibly fragmented and broken. Mike didn't mention, but if you called the light industrial staffing agency, not only would they send the wrong workers, but they'd only send you half the workers you asked for. Their fill rate, which is the term of art in the industry, is about 46%. And you'd have to request these workers a week in advance. So it's very difficult to be responsive to American consumers, to demand, if you have to decide a week in advance. And so Mike has fixed that. Traba fixes that. You can order same day. So if you need variable labor, literally on demand for today, to get the your boxes unpacked to customers, you can do that through Traba. You can never do that before.
And do you think this is going to be a Pegasus, not just a unicorn? A Pegasus is a company that's worth $1 billion, but actually can become profitable.
Well, we believe it'll be profitable. As you know, I was a partner at Founders Fund and a partner or MD at KV. We've collectively invested about $40 million in the company. So we believe very strongly in the potential of the company.
Can I just ask you, Mike, about pay transparency? On the website, can employees see what they're going to be paid? And do you have sort of a bottom level limit?
Yeah, so actually our workers get paid very well on Traba, and one of the luxuries that we're able to provide for them with the fraud detection technology that we built is that these workers get paid instantly after their shifts. So we can give those workers instant payment.
And companies are happy to sign up. How many companies do you have signing up to hire people?
Yeah, so we're really growing extremely fast. We have over 1,000 businesses. Businesses are reaching out across the country looking for great American workers. Actually, if you were to ask me this back in November, only 5% of businesses cared about work authorization. Today, over 75% of our clients are asking about a worker's ability to work in the United States.
Keith, before we go, do you think one day Amazon, which has a ton of warehouses, would be a customer of Traba? Don't you know people? Can't you
Potentially, but also what Traba enables is people to compete successfully with Amazon. If you think about what Amazon can do, it has the fixed investment capabilities that Mike's customers don't have, but they have the ability to have variable labor and have a perfect P&L. So hopefully it's allowing true competition with Amazon, which I think would be great for everybody, including the American consumer.
So an Amazon killer? You're not ready
a killer,
to say
but
that.
we could also help them as well. So if Amazon wants their market cap to go up, Jeff, hit us up. We're going to help you with some variable staffing and make those warehouses more efficient and productive.
But as you know, Shopify accounts for 13% of e-commerce today.
Sure.
And so Shopify merchants have to fulfill it themselves. And so they need to use light industrial warehouses dispersed throughout the country. And that's where Traba kicks in too.
Makes a lot of sense. We'll be following Traba. Mike, Keith, good luck. Thank you very much for being here to unveil it. We